Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady coming to you from the Ladies Garden and Home, and today we're going to be planting onions, and I thought I'd show you how I'm going to do it, so I hope you join us. Well, it's only been a few years since I've tried to grow onions, the key word being try. I have not really had too much success. There are times when I've been able to get some to grow, not to bulb up though, and the ones that have grown, I've been able to overwinter, and I did save the seeds from that. I think the first time I tried sowing onions, the seed was too old. Apparently with onions, it has to be fresh. So the second time I bought some of those onion sets, which are really just kind of like onions that have already been grown for a few months, so there's a tiny bulb there. They never grew for me. They literally stayed the same size, like the whole season. So this year I decided to start from fresh seed, and that I would really research to see how the best ways. I mean, there's so many different methods on how to plant onions. So this is what I've kind of decided to do, and I'll show you. Sowed these seeds back in January with seed that I saved from the few onions that did grow, that flowered last year. And they grew okay. I wish I had had more seeds saved because I feel like this kind of isn't a lot. These here are leeks, which are also from seed that I sowed. Don't ask me what kind of variety onions these are. I don't know, because I had experimented so many times. I do know though that I always was careful to buy long day onions. So there are three different kinds of onions. There are long day onions, short day onions, and then intermediate onions. And what it has to do with is really the length of sun, because onions need a certain amount of sun to bulb up. Long day onions are for people, I believe, above the 32 parallel, which would be people like in the north of the United States. Short day onions are grown by people in the south of the United States below the 32. For example, Georgia, Texas, whatever. I guess their days are shorter in the summer. And then intermediate are the ones kind of like in the middle, I guess, of the country that could go both ways. So anyway, I always was careful to buy long day. So I do know that they're long day, but I have no idea if it's a red onion, a yellow onion, a white onion. It's going to be one big experiment this year. So my goal is to plant as many onions in this bed as possible. As you can see in the back there, I've got garlic growing. And these were my overwintered broccoli rabe. And I have a couple of other brassicas in here, some celery, and turnips, which I'm going to actually pull. They have started to go to flower in this warm temperature that we've been having this week. So I'm just gonna pull them. And by the way, those sprouts you can eat. They're kind of like, well, broccoli rabe. Anyway. So what I'd like to do is along this line here, this perimeter of this bed, I'm going to be planting the onions, and then also along this side. Now, as you can see here, these are onions that really never grew last year, and then all of a sudden decided to overwinter and grow. So I'm going to let them flower. I found last year that the bees really, really loved the flowers. They're awfully pretty. And then I'm going to see if I can collect the seeds again. So that's the goal. So the tools I'm going to use to plant them are this half a wooden stake that broke off, but it's a nice straight line and it'll make me be able to do some nice straight rows. And then this trench digging hoe thing, Hoe, and that should be able to help me make like a nice straight trench. And then as an amendment to the planting area, I'm going to add in some of this Mycobliss first, which is a mycorrhizal inoculant, and that helps root growth. Some of these earthworm castings, and then I'm going to add some of this all-purpose plant food called Plantone by Espoma. So I'm going to add some of that. So let's see if I get it right this year. I've been doing quite a bit of research, and let's hope it works this time. Okay, using this wooden stake, I'm just going to draw in the soil a line that is about, I'm going to say 2 inches from the edge of the bed. And I want to leave enough space from this stake to where the onion's going to be to put a tomato here. Then using this thing, which I probably shouldn't repeat again, I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, I'm just going to dig a trench just a couple of inches deep. I like this tool because it keeps me from having to bend over as much as I normally would have to. Next, a little bit of the Mycobliss, and I'm going to just sprinkle it right into the trench. It has been really super dry for the last couple of, I would say actually at least a week, which is kind of unusual for us in April. We normally have a very wet April showers, you know, bringing May flowers and all that. But in fact, we've been under a fire warning. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the soil that I'm planting into is going to be moist. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tease apart these onions so I can plant them individually. That's the bus, one of them. Okay, so this big clump came out, and you see the roots. And they should be very easy to just tease apart. It's another bus. I live next door to a school, so this time of day, we usually have lots and lots of buses. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest of these and come back when we're ready to plant. Now, throughout the growing season, I did end up giving them a haircut, which is I chopped off the top to about leaving maybe 2.5, 3 inches. I did that 3 times, and that actually helped them grow up kind of straight and also not get tangled up in each other. So I would recommend doing that. That seemed to help. So now I'm going to plant them 4 inches apart. So according to my hori-kori, that's 4 inches. Rock on. Now, onions should not be buried deep. It should be buried only to the green. You want to bury the white, but don't bury the green. Now I'm going to come in with this nice potting mix that had compost in it when I planted the seedlings. And I'm going to fill in and then get them to stand up. Well, that's it. Wish us luck. If you have any tips for planting onions, growing them, taking care of them along the way, please leave some suggestions in the comments below and share with our community here. I have read some good tips for later on in the season, which we'll have an update on how they're doing when the time is right. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, and I hope you subscribe and join our growing community and share it with some other people who you know might like gardening or are thinking about liking gardening. Anyway, from the Ladies Gardening Home, enjoy your gardening journey. Bye! Say goodbye, lady.